Das ist das Wunderbare bei musikmachen.de. Wir sind einerseits ganz nah dran an der Musikbranche, wir sind aber, also an den Instrumenten, aber auch nah dran an den Künstlern. It's my big pleasure having Steve Stevens next to me. Yep. Maybe you're gonna clap for him here. Yep, sounds good. All right, so what are the news that you can tell us? What are the next projects that you're doing?
Right, yeah, I leave Germany on Sunday for back home to Los Angeles for 1 day of rehearsals with all-star band I work with named Kings of Chaos. And Kings of Chaos is Matt Sorum, Duff McKagan, Gilby Clarke, Joe Elliott, Sebastian Bach, and Glenn Hughes. And we head to Australia to open for Aerosmith and Van Halen on a big festival date. Then I finish that, come right back to Los Angeles for rehearsals with Billy Idol for a U.S. tour that'll take us through end of July, and then plans to record a new Billy Idol record starting like July, August through September.
So there's obviously no time out in the rock and roll life. You've done a couple of things. For example, you've played the guitar in Dirty Diana. How did it feel for Michael Jackson doing this project with you?
Yeah, the thing people, I don't think, realize what a big fan of rock and roll Michael was. Obviously he had worked with Eddie Van Halen on Beat It. So when it came time to do the Bad album, I got a call from Quincy Jones. And Quincy was friends with Ted Templeman, who was Van Halen's producer. And that's how Eddie ended up on Beat It. But Ted had just signed me to Warner Brothers, so Quincy said, well, who's the new guy? Ted suggested me. Quincy called me. I said, of course I would do this. He said, we've got this sort of rock track, Dirty Diana. Would you come out and work on it with Michael? And Michael was, all he wanted to know was about Motley Crue and Rat and Dokken and all these rock bands that I had no idea he even knew existed. But he was a big fan of guitar players and rock, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience to work not only with Michael Jackson, but Quincy Jones is a legend, so it's great, man.
Well, thanks a lot for having this very close look to what happened in the past. You also played the soundtrack for Top Gun. So that's amazing. Everyone knows this movie, and you're the man behind the guitar.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the composer is Germany's own Harold Faltermeyer, and Harold had worked with Billy Idol's producer Keith Forsey. They started with Giorgio Moroder doing Donna Summer's records, and Harold came in to do the follow-up record for Billy Idol, Whiplash Smile, and he was just starting to work on Top Gun and had this bit of footage from it and said, I'm working on this film and Tom Cruise is in it, and would you be up for playing on it? And so it really was like, we have an expression, step and shit, but it was like 3 hours in the studio after the Billy Idol session, and then lo and behold, 9 months later, I get a call that we're nominated for a Grammy, and we win the Grammy, and I was just, more than anything, it was nice for my parents, because of all the years of putting up with me playing loud guitar, but I was really happy for Harold. He's one of the truly most gifted film scoring, contemporary film scorers of our time, and it was great that he won,
So we've named a couple of projects, and you're very famous for being open to all kinds of music. So you're into rock, obviously, it's jazz music, it's even flamenco. Where does this openness come from?
Well, I'm always afraid of listening to stuff that's in the style of what I do because I don't want to sound like anyone else. I love Eddie Van Halen and I love, even Alan Holdsworth or all these great guitar players, but I want to be myself. So I find by listening to John Coltrane and Miles Davis and even the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds and strange music, Bulgarian chants or whatever, it seeps into what I do and gives me a unique voice on my instrument that no one else is going to have because I'm mixing up ingredients in a strange way. And that's what makes Steve Stevens sound like Steve Stevens.
And coming to your music, you've brought your guitar, the new signature. And am I right seeing that your wife has kind of an influence on this instrument?
Yeah, well, it's, guitars are sexy instruments anyway. Something about, but this is a beautiful guitar. I wanted when I'm playing guitars, I always find that black goes with everything. But we wanted to offer something a little bit unique, and I always love those vintage drum kits that you see that have those beautiful kind of shell outer layer. So we found this, sourced this, like pearlescent pink, and I thought it was a subtle way to kind of still be rock and roll, but it's not so over the top that people who kind of are more, kind of reserved, it's subtle, but still, there's a classicness about the guitar. It lets you know that this is still a rock and roll machine. And, it's a handmade instrument. Peter Wolf and Joe Knaggs are, I believe, making the finest instruments and putting the most love into them. And Peter and I have had a personal relationship for, 25 years, and I trusted him to bring my ideas to fruition and also, hit me up with ideas, things that I'd never thought of. This bridge is unique to Knaggs, and it's...
So maybe we just change it a little bit so everyone can see that, right?
Yeah, this is kind of, this is, proprietary to Knaggs guitar. It's a one-piece bridge, but like a Gibson Tunematic has a, Tunematic which sits on a solid metal plate, which then transfers your string vibration from point A to point B without there's no gaps or anything. And so the guitar is very solid, very quick, and sustains, to me, better than other guitars that I've played. So this was new to me, and I love having people kind of turn me on to new ideas.
And you're gonna take this baby all around the world for touring in the next couple of weeks and months, and as you already mentioned, so you're going back to LA, doing the Kings of Chaos.
That's right, Kings of Chaos, yeah. So I'll have my Knaggs guitar, and now I'm a big Knaggs fan, and so I play all of their different models, and I stress to people, go online and look at Knaggs guitars, even if you're not interested in a Steve Stevens model. The other guitars that they make are absolutely brilliant. There's a lot of different things happening at that company. So.
All right, and please go out and check all the Steve Stevens stuff you can find on the internet, wherever else. Big pleasure having you here. All the best for the tour with the Kings of Chaos. That's Steve Stevens.
Hey, thank you. Keep rocking, man.